So the 4 ways on how to identify the gender of your bird. By the way, why identification of the gender is important? It is because this is the stage when we prepare ourselves for breeding. So it is important to identify either male or female. So there are 2 types of pairing. First is the natural pairing. Natural pairing, you put your bird into colony and let them choose their pairs. And the second is the selective type of pairing. This is the type of pairing that you get a male, you get a female, and you put it in the cage, and then they will pair. That, if you can gender, you can make sure that your bird is male or female, because some birds you can easily identify either that bird is a female or that bird is a male, but some it's very hard to identify for untrained eye. It's very hard to identify either that is a girl or a male or a female. Because there are cases in Agapornis that male and male pairs together and female to female pairs together. So I have some samples to you that type of parrot that can be easily identified either they are male or female. So these are the dimorphic. Dimorphic is the term of the male and female is not the same appearance. For example, let's begin here in the plumhead. The plumhead, the head of the male is much brighter compared to the head of the female. For the budgerigars, the budgies, the cere of the budgie is bluish when it's adult already, around pinkish when it's a juvenile. While the female, she have a brown cere and it's white when she is a juvenile. But the best example of a dimorphic in parrot is the Eclectus rotatus, or short for Eclectus. The male is green with a yellow and orange beak, while the female is violet and red. Before they thought that this is a separate species. Actually, Christopher Columbus. So the opposite of the dimorphic is monomorphic, meaning the female and the male has nearly the same or the same in the physical appearance. For example, the sun conure. This is the sun conure. For example, the Agapornis. For example, the chattering lory. They're the same. It's very hard to identify to an untrained eye which is which. So, let's begin our discussion from here. The first method is through physical observation or inspection. So, let's begin from the head up to the toes, the legs. So first, the difference between the male and the female of the crown. We will begin at the crown, the coloration of the crown. By the way, my hobby project friends, I'm using the Rosicoilis as a model in this example. First, the crown color. The color of the male is darker compared the coloration of the head of the female. Second thing, the nape or the crown of the male is rounded. If you inspect that one physically, the crown of the male is rounded compared to the crown of the female. The female is a little bit flat if you touch them. So this can be identified through through physical inspection. Next is the beak. The beak of the male is a little bit thinner and longer, while the female is a little bit shorter and wider. It is because the male is the one who allow feed the female, and the female will receive the food from the male. By the way, allow feeding is the process of the passing of food through the mouth. These are done by the birds. The bird. This is the process of the bird of passing the food. So the next thing is the body difference. The body difference is the male is much slimmer compared to the female. The female body type is broader compared to the female. This is because the female have the wider pelvic bone. This maybe the nature design this one, because the female is the one who will incubate the eggs. The next observation is the positioning of the foot. As you can see here, the male's foot is much closer compared to the female's. The female foot are larger. Larger. It's wider. It's wider. Once again, it is this because of the formation of the pelvic bone, because the pelvic bone of the female is much wider than the male, that causes the legs to spread wider like this compared to the males. So once again, this is the physical difference of the male agapornis and the female agapornis. Now I will show you how to gender your birds using the pelvic bone testing, touching method. So this is the sample of the male and the female. This is black chick. This is Personatus. Male and the female pelvic bone method. If you touch this part here, the male is closer. The tips of the pubis bone. The pelvic bone, the tip of the pelvic bone is near with each other compared to the female. The female is wider. Again, because the female are the ones who are laying eggs. The eggs will flow here. So that's why it's wider. Now I will show you more. So this is it. This is the pubis, the bone of the bird. This is the one you feel this one through touching. But be careful always, because the birds is around 10 to 14 centimeter at height, meaning the pelvic bone of this bird is very small and very fragile. I will show you again the picture. So this is the close-up of the pelvic bone. This is the bone that you are touching. Look, it's very thin. That's why, caution, bones are very thin and fragile. The formation of the male, it looks like this. And the formation of the female, it's a rounded tip at the end, rounded tip. But always take note, guys. Just we put let's put this into consideration always, that you must do this of your birds when your birds is around 5 to 10 months old. Do not do this testing if your birds are juvenile, because it's a big tendency that you will damage your birds permanently. So once again, this is the image of the pelvic bone. So now we are aware of what we are touching and what we are feeling if we conduct this method to our birds. So I will show you again the anatomy. So this is the anatomy of your parrot, the bone structural of the bone of your parrot. So this part here, the pubis or the tip of your pelvic bone is the point. This is the one you are touching actually. This. So guys, again, very gentle if you are doing this procedure, if you are doing this method. So these are the physical method, identifying the gender of your birds through physical inspection. So once again, the physical inspection, the difference between male and the female is the head coloration. The male is darker while the female is lighter. The forehead rounded and the female is a little bit flat. The beak of the male is longer and thinner compared to the female, it's shorter and wider. And the legs of the male, it's closer to each other while the female legs is wider. The body type of the male is slim compared to the female. The female body type is broad. The clearance between the pelvic bone is for the male, it's closer as I show you in the picture, and the wider. And the pelvic bone of the male and the female, it's closer and harder for the male, while the female opening is softer and wider. By the way, guys, another thing I will add, the clearance between the pelvic bone and the breastbone. So the tip of the sternum up to the pelvic bone, if you can feel that, if you're inspecting your birds, if you can feel that your point finger, the distance of your point finger will get inside, or the distance is the same with the sternum and the pubis, it is also considered that is a male, because as I've said, the female, that is the female, because as I said, the female is the one who is incubating the eggs. And now we will proceed to my second method is the behavioral observation. We try to observe this male fisher trying to allo feed the female one. As you can see, the male is trying to feed the female. This is one of the courting rituals of the Agapornis. And the male is, I think the male here is very horny. He's trying to get on the top of the female. So once again, the process of feeding from transferring food, feeding the female is called allo feeding. here I'm trying to show you the head gesture of the male. This head gesture meaning he's stating that he can provide food while the female is incubating her egg. I will show you. See? See the head gesture of the male? He's trying to get the food out from his crop. And he is stating to the female that he can provide. See that? And this is another gesture of the male. As you can see, in this manner, you can see that the male is ready to breed. I will show you. He is breeding now the perch. See? See his gestures? Meaning, the male doing like this is already ready to breed. Mature enough to ready to breed. Now I will show you the one of the gesture of the female if she is ready to mate. This is he is now preparing the nest box. I will play this one. So as you can observe, she get materials from this branch, from this stick. Actually, this stick is a moringa stick, kamunggay. It is called in our local language is kamunggay. In English, it's moringa. Another thing in identifying the gender of your birds through behavioral is if you catch your bird and you try to physically inspect the bird, the female is a very aggressive one. She always bites compared to the cock. The cock is very relaxed and very timid one, while the female is very aggressive. It is because the female are the ones who are very territorial because they are the one who are protecting the chicks, protecting the nest. Our next method is the pendulum method. So a pendulum is a weight suspended from a pivot that it can swing freely. In this method, I'm using a string, a thread and a needle. Maybe you can cut this needle so you can avoid stabbing your birds. I would like to suggest, in performing this method, I would like to suggest a two-person operation. One will hold the bird, and one will hold the pendulum. When you hold the bird, the position of the pendulum is parallel to the bird. Like this. So, if our pendulum is moving forward and backward, meaning the bird is male. Second, if our pendulum is moving on circular motion, our bird is female. Now, the question, Is the pendulum accurate? Is the pendulum method effective? My answer for that is yes. Why? Because of magnets. Our body produces a magnetic field. The same with the Earth. The Earth also produces magnetic field, and also our body, and also of the rest of the mammals, the animal kingdoms. Why? Because on cellular level, our cells keep on moving, and the movement provides magnetic fields. Now, why is it that the movement of the needle, if male, is on forward and backward motion, and on female is in circular motion? The answer for that one is the male emits another frequency of the female. The female also emits another frequency, and the male emits another frequency. That's why this is the science or the magic method. That is why the movement of our pendulum moving forward is for male, and the circular motion is for female. You try this one. You try this one. Experiment in your home. Get your cat or your dog. But I advise, in performing this one, you remove all the metals, your rings, your watches, your what else you wear, bracelets. You wear that one. See? Additional info also, guys. This the magnet force field. That's why our homing pigeons can locate their home because of the orientation of the magnets. Remember our compass, our north point is always pointing at north. Why? It's because of the magnet. So, now I know. Try to do experiment at your home. Try to get a cat, your dog, and try to perform the pendulum method. And then you will be amazed. So, that is the third method of our gender identification for our lovebirds. The last method, the last and the most effective method in identifying the gender, maybe of all the species, is the DNA testing. The DNA testing is the most effective, yet from my location, we are not very accessible to this kind of method because we are far. Maybe our nearest testing center is in our capital, while for us we are living somewhere in Mindanao. So, DNA testing, you get, if you don't want to send your bird, you get a blood sample or a feather sample. You will send it to the center, and maybe a few weeks they will have a result. And this also, I don't think the price, how much is the DNA testing. For I think for humans there are 46XX for humans, 23 crop pairs, and for males, and for females are 46XY. But I think for birds is around 80. So after the testing, you will get a certificate like this. So DNA test sexing report labeled number blah blah blah. The species is for example Agapornis personatus. Bird ID. So your bird already have an ID. When you sell your birds is already be expensive because you already undergo the process of sexing report. So bird owner, Taurus Project, of course, and this. So maybe if my bird is insanely, for example, I have a Macau and I don't know I have a blue and gold Macau, and I don't know the sex of that one, the Macau is insanely expensive. That's why I need to be sure what is the sex of my Macau. Maybe he is member of the... Never mind. So it's important, but for agapornis is not so, it's expensive but not insanely expensive. So for my agapornis, I will try the physical, the behavioral, and the pendulum method. So this is the end of the end of the 4 ways that I know on how to identify the gender of your agapornis. Social, I have a headset already. So that's the end of our discussion regarding the 4 ways on how to gender your lovebirds. I hope you got pieces of ideas again in our small talk. So I want to shout out for the owners of those clips. Thank you so much, mga idol. Once again, goodbye, salamat, syukran, maraming salamat o daghang salamat sa tanan.